Of Drips in the Office. I am John and Warren. I am here, as always, with the Lord of the Drips himself, Mr. Patrick Ford. How are we feeling tonight, Patty?
3 episodes. It's gone by fast. Hi, John. How
it.
are you?
I'm doing good. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but I am nowhere near done hearing about the exciting life in the parking game. So buckle up for more of that. I'd like to touch on some stuff, some work topics. We've got some family content coming your way. Had a great episode of KMS on Monday. Got a bonus show today. And of course, Mentor's State of the Union last night with sneakers, which some people are saying left a little more to be desired than they had hoped. So we'll see if the Drips agree. But before any of that, I'd like to remind everybody that here at Drips in the Office, we don't care if you had a dreadful training session with HR today, nor do we care just how business casual your entire wardrobe is. This will still be the most boring part of your week. Pat, I got to get something off my chest this week. I hope you don't mind if I take the floor first.
Floor is yours, brother. Give him hell.
It's something I've been thinking about, something I kind of ran into this week, so it's been on my mind. But I think everyone wants to talk about automation. They want to talk about algorithms, even maybe fear of AI taking jobs. I understand it. I think there's some good that can come out of it. But I still think, and I'm going to sound like Mayo here, personal relationships, customer service, it's still so important. It's so paramount in the business world. And you just don't see it like you used to. It's a sad state of affairs. I think good service is a skill set. Frankly, it's an art form that's dying right now. And I want to talk about it as how it relates to my industry. But even on like a micro level, like for example, you go to like a coffee shop.
Micro.
I feel like the barista who's wearing the smallest beanie you've ever seen in your life, and he's got a nose ring that'll put VDs to shame. It's just like, oh yeah, tattoos everywhere. He's just like, all right, dude, here's your cold brew. Fuck you. And by the way, I'm going to spell your name like an absolute asshole.
No tip. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. They flip that thing around. It's like 50% tip only. It's like, come on, dude. But in my industry, so my company, we're a distributor. We're not a manufacturer. So we're not making these products. Like it's not proprietary to my company or anything like that. So a competitor down the street, they can sell the same product, maybe even to the same customer if they really, like theoretically, they could do that. But having an actual customer service staff, it's such a better experience than maybe outsourcing everything or pushing it all completely online. I think people still want to be treated nicely. They still want someone to smile at them, for God's sakes. Maybe answer a question, troubleshoot something that's wrong with their machine. Not only that, how well trained is your staff? How quickly can you turn an order into a shipment? I think knocking down processing time is another way to give a customer good experience. I mean, people place an order and expect it to show up the next day like it's Amazon. But these, smaller companies like us, that's not something we can realistically do. And there's processing time. We deal with the insurance. Is the prescription good? There's something called prior authorization that we have to get through these insurances to try to guarantee coverage from the patient. But they're not thinking about that. So you want to have trained staff that can get that done, have a streamlined warehouse, maybe a really good relationship with your dropship partners to make sure you're shipping stuff on time. All that rolled in. But at the end of the day, it's really, really important to have good customer service. I mean, like even on a federal level, I see it's getting bad. Like we have a new mailman. His name's Andrew. Kid is high as a kite half the time. His uniform's covered in dog hair. It's grotesque, Matt. It's grotesque.
I didn't know where you're going.
No, but you're in business development. You must deal with this stuff all the time, right?
Brother, let me tell you, the first thing you said, automation. That's the name of my game right now. Right now, we're running at like a 70-30 tilt of garages compared to valet operations. Valet customer service is the name of the game. But if you want to focus strictly on the garage component of it, right? If you go back even 10 years ago, every time you exit a parking facility, there's somebody in that booth who's taking your credit card, swiping it, and giving you a receipt. There's the window. It just flew right out of it. That's over. Everything is automated. But what we've learned over the last 10 years specifically is that the automation doesn't always stick. There's so many technical issues. They're trying to build and grow as fast as they can, and it just isn't there. So we still need that customer service. But like you said, It is by far the most difficult thing to find. You hire somebody, and I don't even look at resumes anymore. I don't even look at where where you went to school or
I
what you
same with
where you,
me.
it's just if you can hold a conversation, I know you're going to have good people person skills. We've had some serious incidents, not with this current company I'm with, but in the company prior to. I've had like people punch like people in the face who are like patrons of the place.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Like in a
insane.
parking garage or something like that?
It was pre-parking life. Parking's a different game. We
Oh,
run it
okay.
with a pretty iron fist. I don't know if that's a phrase or
As
not.
parking does, as parking
Yeah,
does.
parking does. Correct. Yes, very well said, John. But customer service is becoming more and more brutal to find. And like the one thing I've always said is when I was doing like kind of the more operation side of things, I would hand my business card more often than not to like the people working at Dunkin' Donuts or the people working at McDonald's. Because another tangent here, I think those are the most difficult jobs out there. They never
Oh,
ever
for sure.
stop. If you go to McDonald's, it's I get it. It's kind of the same thing over and over, but you need customer service. Those are the kind of people we look for. But it is a dying breed in the industry of every industry right now. And I think a lot of it ties to people who just think that they can make a quick buck elsewhere. So fuck this job and the $16 and $17 an hour I'm making. It's just not how it works. You don't get to the position that you or I are in right now. As you can see, my basement doesn't even paint up there. We're doing really well. You don't get here by lack of customer service. The customer comes. Finish it.
First, and I miss
Yep.
it. I miss someone smiling at me and like being cordial. I don't know. Maybe I'm the last of a dying breed, and maybe you're the same with something like that.
Back in my younger days, when I was a bit thinner, I was always getting good customer service, primarily.
Oh, you think it changed?
Listen, I don't know what happened. They see the ring, they see the thickness around the face, and they're out. But yes, I don't know. I don't really know what happened. It's probably not Joe Biden's fault, but I'm sure it ties back to him. Just kidding. Nobody killed me for that. But yeah, customer service is dead. Let's bring it back. 2024, right?
You touched on something that's a huge fear of mine when you said you go to these parking garages or a lot or whatever, and there's no attendant. Dude, I've been stuck. Providence Place Mall from all my Rhode Island people.
All right,
I got stuck there one time and there was no one fucking there, dude.
That has to be cut. That's a good facility. We're just going.
It's a long time.
We need to talk about things before we run them. That's fine. Just kidding. Yeah.
And dude, people are behind you. They're beeping. There's no one at the stand. That is just your heart just stinks. It's like I'm just gonna fucking run through this thing and get out of here. I can't handle it.
It happens far more than you think. Average parking gate right now. Guess the price. All in.
Parking. What do you mean? As a
the gate that you're driving through, the gate that you are plowing through because you are pissed off because you can wait because you're waiting.
Oh, what does that cost?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I have no idea. How much does it cost?
You're running about $2,200 per gate right now.
Huh?
$2,200.
And that's pre-install.
You want somebody to install it?
What a dumb question.
140 an hour, minimum 6 hours. Like, I'll just go out there and sweat it out myself. I'm not a tech guy, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, no, it's a fear of everyone's, and the help button is also the problem. Is let's take this, let's unpeel this onion one more layer.
Let me use a word. Let's get granular. I'll
look that up. When you are stuck at those gates, you say, okay, I'll hit help. The guy on the horn or the gal on the horn, they're a customer service representative. If they're not bringing their A game, it makes the experience worse. Trust me. I work in the biz and I get nervous around parking gates. I'll get you a universal key. I have a universal key. Don't tell anybody that. That'll help you get out of those sticky situations. We're going to need to talk about that. I'll flip you one. But listen, customer service, dead. Hopefully it comes back.
It's needed.
Customer service, Brian Riccio.
Yeah. So you've been teasing us with I don't even know if I'm going to say it right. I'm going to try to introduce this right here. Can you please finally tell the people, if you're ready, what claims 10,000 per labor hours means? Did I get that right?
Close. Now, I'm taking you behind the scenes here. This is a little inside baseball, as they say.
Behind this curtain, Pat.
One metric that I was really fascinated with before I switched to the role that I'm in, because it doesn't play a huge role in it currently, but it's something to always keep in the back of your mind, is claims per 10,000 labor hours. And I know what you're thinking. What the hell is he talking about? Well, I'm going to tell you. Claims per 10,000 labor hours is one of my favorite things to look at in the industry, and this is from a valet side of the aisle. This is not from self-park. This is from, your valet component and the staff working that control those vehicles. Now,
Sure.
we all know it. Valet is, for me, it's a scary game. And unfortunately, claims, damages, losses, they're all part of the game. You just have to bite that bullet and understand it. When I was a young buck in the game, my goal was to always have 0 claims all year. It just doesn't happen. You are dealing with people. It's out of your control, frankly.
So that's
But
no dings, dents, like anything like that, right? That's what you're talking
yeah,
about.
that is. Yep.
Yep.
Dings, dents, rare occasion stolen vehicles, which we haven't had in, knock on wood, and kind of stolen items too. So the metric that was kind of revolutionized within the business was claims per 10,000 labor hours. Now, there's a few components to this. First off, what's your goal? What are you trying to stay under? There's no real answer for that, because every hotel, every restaurant, every residence, they're all different, right? So you could I have my notes over here because even I'm always staying on top of my game, and I don't remember everything.
Somehow I think I'm still with you. So
10,000 labor hours breaks down to about 27.4. Yeah, 27.4 hours a day. So it's a little bit more than your usual, but you have to factor in a few things. If you're using this metric for every sort of location you run, you could have a 500 room hotel where you have 6 valets on, a doorman, a cashier, and a manager, where you're going to have much higher labor hours. Or you could have a boutique hotel that only has 1 valet in the morning, 1 valet at night, or maybe it doesn't even do overnight. So that's why the 27.4 average kind of barrels out for 365 days a year. Now, like I said, claims are inevitable. We know that they are going to happen, and a lot of times, and this is the most difficult part of the biz, is fake claims. You back into a pole and your brother. Are you kidding me? We have a whole department to suit them out. I'm so versed with lawyers and attorneys and all this stuff by now. But if you have a big scrape on your car and you pull into a valet, like legitimately, people will book a hotel room with valet parking to park their car, stay a night, come back out and say that scrape wasn't there.
And that was the whole point of the
whole point of the thing. Because
Huh.
nine times out of 10, it depends on your insurance company more than anything. You're not necessarily required to pick a place to repair the car. It's just, cut us a check for $5,000 or whatever the damage was, and we'll repair it on our own. Which the person doesn't give a shit about their 1992 Buick LeSabre. I don't even know if that's a Buick. They just care about the money. So we have to fish all those out. And that comes with, the proper training of when somebody comes in the driveway. You do a 360 of the car, you point out the damage, you point at the camera, you mark it on the back of your ticket, that holds up in court 99% of the time. Now, getting back to the original, discussion point here.
By the way, we're lucky that Ricchio's not alive, because he would be taking notes right now. Like, this is exactly what I'm going to do.
We're lucky he's not alive for a lot of. We're lucky he's not alive for a lot of reasons. But yeah, that's very true. So you have to factor it in. That 27.4 obviously is 24 hours in a day. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit less, but I'm saying that's basically based off the different size and the different scopes of operations you have. Every single day, every single minute, every single hour, there's always risk for a claim. So you have to factor all that in. You generally want to stay under 4 claims per 10,000 labor hours. Let me tell you why. The average cost of a claim right now can go anywhere from $20 for just a little paint chip that you got to get repaired to what's the most it's ever been, like 250, somewhere in that range. Ferrari, for example. So it varies. The average price right now is $1,089 per claim. So if you factor that in, 4 claims, check my notes. I don't have a calculator. It's about $4,000 a year. And you always budget for claims. You kind of budget for the ups and downs. But this is a metric that's very important as you you budget for your year of what your claims are going to be, what your turnover is going to be. And it goes way beyond the actual claim itself. It goes way beyond the actual interaction in the driveway itself. It goes all the way back to standards and training, right? So if I hire somebody, right, I hire a valet, like, yeah, great, welcome aboard. You're a valet today, go get them. My percentage for a claim goes up about 92% without the proper training. 92, and that's on a scale of 100, so it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, that's high.
So not only is the claim pricey, right? So we're saying if we average about 4, if we stay kind of right on that borderline, and you're looking at about $5,000, fine. That's $5,000 you're going to have to eat. And you factor that into into the underwriting of the deal, all that stuff. But you're going to have to spend a whole shit ton more money on your standards and training. You got to hire somebody to basically run your standards and training department, which is going to cost you whatever it costs you. Salary per year, won't leak that.
Benefits, maybe.
And benefits, and then you factor in their time traveled, their time training, their time with follow-up, all that. So the labor hours per 10,000, the claims per 10,000, see, even I mix it up. The claims per 10,000 labor hours is a metric really used for us internally to try to determine, you use a trend. So you look at your last 5-6 years, you look at what you've done at these locations to implement change, and you kind of streamline that into your budgeting for future years. So that's all well and good. If we can stay below our goal number, great. But we're not going to stay without our below our goal number without putting in some serious training, putting in some serious standards, and spending the time with our employees to make sure that they are doing their job and doing what we have hired them to do. If you don't have the right oversight, another layer, fucking onion parade over here today. Yeah. If you don't have the right oversight, if you don't have people kind of keeping track of people, you're shit out of luck. You are absolutely toast.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, step right up for everyone's favorite charity. People help the people.
So there's so many different layers to it. I got to stop with the layers. I think that's 4 or 5 times now. But the claims itself is one thing, but the amount of money you're going to spend the more you spend, the better off you're going to be. But you have to make sure that your spend doesn't outweigh your cost.
Of course,
it's going to outweigh your cost.
Budget for it ahead of time. Yep.
Yeah, and usually your standards of training department isn't necessarily a net positive department. You don't really see much return on that because you can't tie a claim savings value to one department if they're overseeing. If you do 30 hotels, right, or you do 30 restaurants or 30 residences, you're not necessarily tying it to one location. It's more as a whole. So I could say, I did $10,000 in claims last year. I brought in Steve, who's our claims director, our standards and training director.
Is he from Gloucester?
Brother, that guy, he would run a tight ship. I'll tell you that. A tight ship.
That laundry's not tight.
Oh, yeah, no, great guy. But so you kind of factor all that in. If you look at okay, I was 10,000 this year, 5,000 this year, but I did 6 training seminars. I did 4 in the driveway training sessions. I spent a total of 52 hours at this location. We dropped to 6,000. Great. But the difference between a good parking company and a bad parking company is...
give it to me. Give it to me.
The bad parking company will sit there and say, save $4,000.
Cutting corners.
Nice. Let's go grab a drink. Right?
Yep.
No, there's no drinks. We don't drink 2 years.
That's why they brought you in.
But a good parking company will analyze how much time, how much effort, how much money you've spent in your standards and training or your safety protocols. And you'll say, okay, well, we knocked off $4,000 in the department this year was a net X. Okay. If we can dump in another $200,000 into the department and add, bump it up to 10 training seminars and 6 in the driveway lessons or, training sessions, maybe we'll knock that down to 4. And a lot of the times, if you're running a lease location where you're basically just leasing the property, you're leasing the valet operation, say, hey, we'll give you $100,000 a year, we'll run it. Then the customer itself, like the owner of the hotel, whatever it might be, they don't really give a shit. Like, they're not paying for the claims. But if you're in a management agreement where they're just paying you to come in and manage it and they take on all the costs, a lot of those claims come out of their pocket. So it's really analyzing the risk, analyzing the costs, and then kind of reporting back to the client. The most important thing is transparency. As a young buck myself, I backed a Toyota Sienna. I remember it vividly. I backed it right into a pole, and I forgot. I hit the gas instead of the brake. It wasn't major, but there was a pretty good sized dent. And this is younger Pat.
Was your hair long or short at this time?
Short, but I still had the earrings, so I still had a little bit of that fuckboy in me.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
That didn't sound right. And what I did was I got out of the car quick. I ushered them right to the door. I told them to have a good day, and they drove down the road. In the moment, I was like, not going to get in trouble. And
it always comes back, right?
That pit in my stomach set in, right?
Yep.
2 days later, called the hotel, say, hey, that handsome jackass backed my car into a pole. $4,000. I got a whole rash of shit. at a later date, not next week, down the road, I got to do a little more research because I know my basics. The repair costs, it's almost like some of these dealerships, it's almost like some of these repair shops know that they could pull a fast one. They know that they're working with insurance companies. No offense to you.
No, it's a game.
And they know that they're gonna cut the check. So they'll quote you $6,000 for a $4,000 worth of damage, and game over. You get a second quote, they're coming in at $7,000 because they're trying to make $3,000 opposed to the $2,000. It's a system. It's a never-ending cycle.
I don't know exactly how it works, but I think they play with the deductible somehow. That's how they work around it. But again,
Bingo.
Story for another story for another day.
Going down that road. But yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I loved it. I think the people are going to love it.
Sure. I can already hear
the a little heavy for some, but I'm right there with you. I think you did a good job of breaking it down for the layperson like myself. Listen,
if you can't take the heat, grab a napkin and clean up the drip because
that's right, baby.
We're cooking with gas over here. I just made that up on the spot.
Speaking of cleaning up, let me hit you with this quick story that I wanted to tell you because it relates to fishes and fish tanks. So I thought this would be right up your alley.
Hell yeah.
Before we move on to our next topic, but when I first got hired at my company, kind of a lower level position, I was in a cubicle. They call it like a bullpen. There's a bunch of cubicles. So I don't know how long I was there, but it was definitely my first year. I come into work and I go to my cubicle and there's a small fish tank sitting on my desk, like a standard, like small fish tank. And there's a fish in it. So I'm like, what
kind of fish?
I don't know, like a little like goldfish thing. Or I don't know. It's like a little
the dirtiest fish, by the way. The dirtiest fish.
Is it? So I don't know if it was like some sort of initiation ritual or what's going on. Like, oh, did I finally make it over here? But long story short, I ended up finding out who did it. But I'm like, all right, whatever. I have a fish now. But I take care. I come in, I take care of it, I feed it. It's a whole thing.
Peaceful,
one day,
right?
It's kind of nice. I'm taking calls. I'm ripping dials, as we say in the industry, and the tank starts to get a little like musty or cloudy. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna clean the tank. So I clean the tank. I threw the fish, and I don't remember what I threw him in, a cup or a Tupperware or something like that. Dude, I didn't know, Pat. I didn't know. I cleaned it. I filled it back up with water. I tossed the fish back in. Dead, dude. Dead within like an hour or two. It's supposed to be room temperature apparently. So then I had to just, I had to be the guy in the office who killed the fish. So yeah, didn't tell you it was gonna be a happy ending.
No, I put my head down and I shake my head, but I think I said it here or I said it on the rundown. Another really good show. I'd be lying if I said I haven't killed
especially
fish.
Last week.
I started with 10. Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah, I started with 10. I killed 4. It's the same thing. It's the room temperature water compared to water. The temperature is huge. But another thing, why I put my head down originally, because I can't fault you for water, because I killed Zeus, Zeke.
See, I don't remember my fish's name.
Sam and Leo.
Oh, not Leo,
all men. Dude, well, actually, no. These are all the ones that had fish bladder. These are all the ones that had fish bladder. So
they were in pain. Come on.
I take fault, but I think the fish bladder would have taken them out anyway. But I digress. The biggest thing, which I didn't know, because I went out and I bought that fucking tank, and I was pumped. I was like, all right, give me 10 of those. Like, give me 2 of them. Give me 3 of them. Give me 2 of those. Like, we won't even go to the whole what's a schooling fish and what's not. But the girl was like, absolutely not, Buster. Like, you're gonna take this tank back home. You're going to clean it. You're going to put water in there. You're going to treat the water. You're going to come back here in 3 days with a sample of water, and we're going to test it. And they tested it. It came back. But
I love picturing you like, okay, ma'am, I'm going to do just
pretty much. I just took my tank and I went home. I was very disappointed because I thought I was going to have fish that day. But it was for the greater good, because fish, if you use tap water, the chemicals in tap water are crazy, right? Get yourself a filter. But if you don't, I should have just got a filter. Yeah, I probably could have saved a lot of time. Anyway, you have to make sure that the water is proper levels. It's basically just a little swimming pool test that you drop in there. Boop, boop, all set. But yeah, you could have killed them for a bunch of different reasons. Don't sweat it. It happens. We're human.
We're human. I haven't thought about it in quite some time, but I was glad I was able to confess that to you, a fish lover.
Listen, get it off your chest. My dream is to have.
It feels pretty good to get it off my chest. I'll say that.
My dream is to one day have an in-ground swimming pool, right? And instead of having the swimming pool like a liner, like that blue design that they have throughout it, I want the walls to be a fish tank all the way around. Like that's rich. Like that's big money. I haven't even priced it out. But like, how sick would that be? If you could even have like sharks in there, it's like, I know some of sharks. But then if like there's a leak or something, you're kind of fucked because the sharks will kill you. But that's just my dream, and it has been before I owned fish.
It predates the fish. I'm not even going to get into it because I'm sure we could go for another hour on that. Before we get into the next topic,
some people might think it's fishy.
Yeah.
Go on.
Don't. Before we get on to our next topic, we've got a special feature from the Kirk Minahan Show Network that we want to share with you guys. So take it away.
Yeah, gather around all you dicks. It's better than it used to be. All right now.
Hey, spring's here. You know what that means.
Spring cleanups, guy.
You know, while we're at it, these blades took a friggin' beating all fall. We're gonna put some new blades on there. I'm gonna show you how to friggin' do it. Gentlemen.
Good.
Huh. That's how you do it.
Some reassembly required.
Kinda.
Yeah, gather around all you dicks. It's better than it used to be. All right now.
Bravo.
Pat, speaking of that, what are you doing at home? Like, are you an actual cut the grass yourself guy, or are you hiring landscapers?
What do you think? That's a silly question.
You're
I grew up the son of a landscaper. It's actually one of my first jobs when I was younger. Still do it from time to time if assistance needed. But yeah, I grew up the son of a landscaper. We maintained about 90 properties at the peak. So I'll be dead before I hire somebody to do my lawn. It's a peaceful experience to just get out of the house, put your headphones in. Sometimes I pop the top, especially now that I'm on my weight loss crunch.
I'll do that.
Sometimes I pop the top and just tan it. I'll do it in the front. Frig, give the neighbors a show for God's sakes. But no, 100% do it myself, top to bottom. Take a lot of pride in it. And I've done a lot in the last 3 years of owning that home. So how about yourself?
Yeah, same. I've hired folks to do like a maybe like a fall cleanup or a spring cleanup, but then I want to maintain it the rest of the season because, like you said, there's something good about doing it yourself, even if it's just convincing yourself that you're getting something done. Good to sweat it out a little bit. I like the beer after I cut the grass, so it all rolls into a good experience, I think.
No beer for me, but yes, I also enjoy that. I'll have a lemonade. How's that sound?
Yeah,
a lemonade and a candy bar. Not anymore.
So, Pat, what is this I'm hearing? I mean, rumors are just swirling. You know how it goes, dude. I think you know where I'm going with this, but so is it true you've never seen a full Disney movie or full like Pixar movie in your life? What's going on here?
Correct. Yeah. I told you that. And then I've seen like the Moanas and stuff now that I have a kid. But growing
that's where
up,
I was going with it. I was going to say, like, what do you do with the kids? Are you still a Miss Rachel household?
Yeah. I got famous on TikTok from Miss Rachel. I'll send you a link. She duetted my video. It was pretty sick. But no, now I'll see like the Moanas and the Encanto 2 was a letdown. But no, growing up, I never saw a Disney movie start to finish, and I'll tell you why. Unless a movie's funny, there's literally no point in watching it for me. And a lot of those Disney movies can be funny, but name me a Disney movie that doesn't have just some fucking nasty villain that jumps in, whether it be Cruella de Vil, whether it be the big squid lady from Little Mermaid, whether it be, and this one's not fair because Beast was actually a good guy. I was fucking petrified of all that stuff. I'd be
The
watching
Beast
it.
was
You get good,
terrifying though.
1000%. Like the evil stepmother from Cinderella. Like and this is true. Like I was pissed at my mom because I thought she would turn into that. Once that stuff came around, like I had always thought about it. Like, okay, like I'm gonna see this person in real life. Like I don't want to keep watching this. Like there's no point. I know they're all happy endings, but like I was like 8, 6, 7, 8. Like there was no point of watching it. Like why am I gonna watch something that's like, oh great, like the person that I've really connected with over the last 45 minutes, all of a sudden someone just stole them. Like, oh good, they're now the big squid from Little Mermaid just grabs the crab and is like going underwater. Like absolutely not. Like why do you even bother? Like why can't it just be happy for 2 hours? Everybody laughs and then like the credits roll. So I was
it like a big thing in your household? Like were your parents like just sit down and watch like Lion King?
Yeah. My dad thinks I'm a total pussy. Still, he did then and certainly does now. But no, they were like, "Come on, you just give it a shot." Oh, you know what? The one that really like broke everything for me was Monsters Inc. I mean, I know what you're thinking. Like that movie's pretty tame. There's like that big grouchy lady.
Watched it the other day.
I got it from Blockbuster Video, right? Popped it in the fucking DVD player. It wasn't Monsters Inc. It was a movie called Monsters. It was just fucking rated R gore fest.
Yeah,
no,
I don't. To this day, I don't do any of the gore stuff.
Turned it on, and I just started bawling my eyes out, ran out of the room, and I was done. So no, it's not even Disney movies. It's just movies in general. If you're not funny, if you don't have like, if it's not positivity throughout, there's no real point in me watching it because I get very invested in things. And if it's negative, if they're bad people, I want nothing to do with it. I'm assuming you've seen all these movies.
Oh yeah, we see. I mean, we have Disney Plus every single day. Every night we got to watch at least one of them.
Now I'm fine with it, but if you even look like an Encanto or a Moana, who's the real big bad guy?
Yeah, so you're saying that they've like slowed that down a little bit as far as like the scare factor.
Cleaned up their act a little bit. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Definitely not as much
being a Nazi. What?
Definitely not as much death. Like every movie would start with one of the parents dying like immediately, and that was also pretty fucked up.
And like if it has a good soundtrack too, like Moana has a good soundtrack. We have some of those songs downloaded. You know, it's not a Disney movie. It might be actually, but The Greatest Showman. I don't know if you've ever seen that. What a soundtrack! I have that on my iTunes. That movie, it has some ups and downs to it, but the soundtrack is like it's crazy. It's so good. So I'll watch that. But if it has a good soundtrack and a good vibe, sure. But if not, what's the point? I'd rather just listen to Kirk, mow the lawn, anything really, other than
that'll never happen.
Mow the lawn.
Yeah,
I'll mow the lawn. Hell yeah.
No, I thought you said I'd rather watch Kirk mow the lawn.
No. He's never touched a lawnmower. I'm not asking him to. I'm saying instead of watching that movie, I'll go out and mow the lawn. If everybody's sitting down for a movie night and there's a bad guy, see you later. And this has been something since I was like 2 or 3.
I love it. I just had to clear that up.
I appreciate it.
With spring here, we got Easter obviously next weekend. I don't know about you, but the Easter egg hunts have become a huge thing. Like I went to 2 of them last weekend. I went to one Saturday, one Sunday. I've got another one coming up this weekend. And one of the ones I went to this weekend was elaborate. These people have a very nice home sitting on a couple acres. By the way, great spread for the adults. Like we're talking donuts, eggs, sausages, high noons flying around.
Thanks.
But and no free ads, but they had hired this band called the Toe Jam Band, and again, no free ads. They're at Buttonwood Zoo every Monday.
I love Buttonwood Zoo
at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And these guys were good, dude. They're playing all the kids' music, got the kids all riled up. So it was like it's crazy how elaborate these things are getting, but great way to kill a couple hours, I think. And the kids are running around, which is absolutely huge. You got to get your kid active so they fall asleep when you get home.
Tire them out. Yep.
Dude, it's such a factor. It really is.
Easter egg hunts for me have always been semi-positive. Easter Bunny, I was petrified of that. Like when they do the pictures and stuff, we used to leave them all. I used to be afraid of the forklift at Home Depot too, but that's a story for another day. But Easter egg hunts for me have always been bittersweet because I'm deadly allergic to all nuts.
Yep.
if you go to a place that doesn't really know you as a person, sometimes you open up an egg that you found and you're really proud of, and all of a sudden there's a Reese's sitting in there. So it's like, what did I find this for, right? Like I could have found something with jelly beans. But this year, I'm actually really worried about the Easter egg hunt. Not for me. My son will have a blast. I mean, yes, for me.
Are you hosting one?
I'm sure I will.
Yep.
Just knowing the woman upstairs, I'm sure we'll have an Easter egg hunt or 3. But I'm starting to lose weight. I'm down 2.1 pounds. I don't know if you could have told from my physique on the camera, but it's probably a little gross, but I've been having some poop issues since last Monday. I haven't had a real good one in 8 days. So I think it's my body's way of telling me, stop eating Cheetos and candy every night. Stop eating fruit by the foots like they're going out of style, and you got to clean it up. So I am. It's very difficult.
What's this
like
new
today-
diet consist of?
Not chips and candy. It's more. I had a salad for lunch today. That was fucking dreadful. But like, I
They're
think
not
that's
good,
what
dude.
my life has to be now. And like, this will probably lead into Justin's whole breadstick debacle. Like, I could never. I could absolutely never. So going back to it, I'm excited for Easter egg hunts. The kids get excited. Yeah, you can hide them in some fun places. Like I was thinking about digging one, like putting one in the ground, like digging it up and like covering it. Be like, oh, no, we're not done until you find it. So they run around for like 5 or 6 hours. But yeah, there's a lot of temptation this year, especially my son being so young that all candy isn't greenlit. I would generally be the guy to polish off the candy. Pause. And this year it's going to be mind over matter, I think. And I'm just going to have to fight the inner demon to not eat the candy, which
Are
I'm
you
nervous about.
kind of like behind the scenes, almost subconsciously going to do this challenge with the boys? Like mine is like they're doing it. Why don't I kind of do it at the same time? See if I can lose
I
some weight.
think the balance stuff happened a couple days prior to them saying they were going to do the weight loss challenge, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll pat this shit'll be over quick. Not. But then they said, yeah, we're gonna lose some weight. You know, Coleman's doing well. He ate a whole tuna last night, so I think that'll be beneficial. And Justin ate an Olive Garden, so I'm following their footsteps. And I'm gonna do the weight loss challenge with them. My
solidarity.
My main concern is the haters. What are they going to have in the chamber once I'm a Thin Mint again? Once I'm looking like a goddamn snack on screen.
I think we might know already. There was some photos floating around of you looking like Where's Waldo. He's a slim fella.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I like that. That's true. But yeah, no, weight loss journey started last Friday. So nervous about the Easter egg hunt, more nervous about Halloween, but I have months down the road for that. So we'll see. We'll see. You guys big on the Easter egg hunt over at your place, or you just go to your rich friend's house with bands?
Yeah, yeah, definitely a little bit of that. And then I can't remember if I told this story or not, but we've got the Easter bunny coming over. We hired someone to come over Easter morning. Now, mind you, I'm going up to Portland for Kirk's show. I'm staying over Friday night, and I'm staying over Saturday night.
Cool.
So I'm gonna come home. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to rush home before the Easter bunny's there. Either way, I'm gonna look kind of like a scumbag. Like I'm coming home from this weekend trip, like with the boys, and then I just show up, all haggard and everything. So
I cut the deal that I'm leaving after the show to return for that to appease all parties.
Sure,
but yeah, you're playing a risky game. I wish you well. I'll shoot you a text early to make sure you're on the road. How's that sound?
Yeah, that would be huge. Yeah, I appreciate it. And with that, I will. I'll try to be a hype man for the diet. But
oh, thank you.
We might as well get into kind of round this out with some of the show topics. Obviously, Monday we had Cinema Lord, we had Black Blind Mike. Some people said Black Blind Mike. Yeah, the witness protection, unlocked character. Some people even saying he was fading into obscurity. Not me. As far as I thought it was a great episode overall. You didn't get a ton from Cinema Lord, but it was almost one of those ones where it wasn't in a bad way. Like sometimes people go in there, maybe myself, but you don't say much and you kind of get hated on for it. But I actually think his subtle commentary is welcomed a little bit. He's got that accent. He kind of knows his role, picked his spot. So I really don't think it wasn't like an eventful appearance, but it wasn't a bad appearance from Cinema Lord.
No, I liked it. His jail story where he was trying to, sweet talk his buddy while they were behind bars, and it backfired on him. That was an interesting
That
one.
fell
But
flat.
no,
That fell a little flat.
I was confused as to where we were heading, but also shocked to hear he's only been to jail once. Congrats to him. I've never been to jail. I don't think I'd do well in there.
What, just strictly based on the long sleeve under the short sleeve and the khakis that go to his ankles? Is this what you're basing everything on?
It's more the accent.
Okay.
The accent screams like I got a couple misdemeanors, nothing crazy.
So where I live is very close to Fall River, so I hear that all the time.
Oh yeah, he's a mix of Fall River and Providence. I do like it though. Yeah, you feel right at home listening to him on screen. But no, I was happy for him that he's only been to jail once. Mike was good in the show as always.
Yep,
a bit dark.
Yeah, it was dark. Yeah, I thought Kirk was great that show. I just thought it was a really good show overall. Great way to start the week. I thought we were coming off a hot couple shows last week too, so I definitely feel like we've been rolling. And then we go into today. We have the bonus show, which I enjoyed. I obviously didn't expect it. Got a call from Whitney. Justin,
my buddy Dan Katz got.
That's right.
Dan Katz from Newton got his fix. He was back. Free Karen Reed.
He absolutely has to have like an alert on his phone to say calls are back, because he's just
that alert today. That alert today was me. When he was not the first call, I had to give him a quick ring and let him know that. He knew, but it was good. I like the calls, but I also, and when they stopped doing calls, whatever it was, like it's been more than a month. I was disappointed because I like the wackiness that comes with it sometimes, but I think it's been really good without the calls, and we got a little bit of it today, and no, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good show today. A little bit shorter of a show. They didn't, am I mistaken? They didn't really touch on the State of the Union, did they?
No, they didn't.
Which is sort of interesting. I mean, I wonder if that just means
it was really good. I'm surprised they didn't. It was fruitful.
Exactly. I mean, here's what I'll say about it. And I do want to preface it by saying I genuinely like Menners. I think I've always thought Menners is funny. I've never missed a tiny CEO.
Keyword was.
Yeah. But my biggest gripe is that it's a State of the Union, and he kind of tweeted out a couple times like, that when I think State of the Union, I kind of think of like a big address, like I don't know, like a big show, like things are going to come out of it. And I don't think it was really well produced. Sneakers was darker than Blind Mike. Yes. He had a couple things, I think, maybe scripted, and then he kind of freestyled the rest, and he was just going back to the hits. So I was a little disappointed that the production value and then maybe like pre-baked points weren't really there. I definitely thought it fell flat, left a little to be desired. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I thought it sucked shit as a whole. Sneakers, you knew what you were going to get. There was nothing really. I mean, he sticks by his stuff, so I got nothing bad to say there for my own safety and for just honesty. You knew what you were going to get, and I'm with you. I've always found Menners to be super funny, and this whole like network split has been very funny and like kind of poking fun at him. But like there's little to no humor involved. I'm sure he thinks he's being like facetious in a way, but it was pretty painful. And I think a lot of it was scripted. When you go to listener questions like 25 minutes into your State of the Union, it's never a good sign.
Well, that's kind of my point. Like when you have to lean on the listener questions, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think he'll drift into like hating the show more than he already like somewhat does. I hope not. Like he's a funny guy, and if he played along and kind of fought back in like a normal way, I think it would be interesting. The guy's out of his fucking mind. Like he has to realize he's a fucking password change away from being Andy Mayo's producer in a podcast and a commentator for cricket who used to own a restaurant. Like let that set in. So like the whole talk of like, oh, when Kirk kicks everybody off the network and like they're gonna have to come running back to me, like pretty decent chance he just changes the password on you and gives it to someone else. So like if you want to be serious about this, fine, go ahead. Like I still enjoyed listening to it because I'm like mentally ill and like enjoy watching.
I'm always gonna listen. Like I
won't listen to Shattuck's disaster, that abortion that's going on tonight.
I'm just not really interested in it, so.
No, but I don't know, just play along a little bit. It's all supposed to be fun, but yeah, there was a lot of laughs coming from that room between those two. So good. That was good to see. Yikes.
I think if he could bring the humor back, he could maybe get something going again. Again, he's got a lot of people who think he's funny and have been watching him for a long time.
Well, listen, my DMs have been flooded with people who are like, I used to support him. I used to be such a fan. Like, now I hate him. I hate him so much. Like, I hate Australia. One guy was like, I hate Australia so much. I had a trip booked there for the summer.
I'm dragging Australia down, huh?
He said he wrote a letter to the prime minister or president. I don't know which one they have exactly.
Fair. Yep.
Or if it's even one of those two. He said he wrote a letter. But yeah, people are starting to turn on. It's sad to see. He was such a very big man at one point, all 4'8" of him, and now he's just kind of falling back into just hating the show. And if you want to hate the show, a lot of people hate the show. That's fine, but have some humor attached to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's the oldest story, but the people who hate the show listen more than anyone else. One thing, like that Sneaker said last night that kind of made me laugh. At one point, he was like, "You know what? I think I've decided that I'm gonna go to the Portland show." And I just laughed to myself. I'm like, Sneaks, there was no point. And I swear, like Sneaks, it's like there was no point at like ever that you weren't gonna go to the show. Like, come on.
I've always said it. You have guys like you and guys like me who like I'll pump. I love everything about the show, every single aspect of it. And if you had 100% guys like us, like it would still be great, but like there's like that inner turmoil within the world. Like a lot of people try to make that their persona, and it just doesn't work. Like I think he's fine with it, but yeah, you got to have some humor. You got to have some humor attached to it.
Yeah, completely agree. We got a pretty big guest coming up on the show. We're talking the debut of Robbie B. I mean, dude,
I am pumped.
That's huge. I think everyone's really happy for Robbie, and he's going to be in there with Danny from Bill Ricca. Do I have that right?
Yep. Two guys whose talent and their persona started with